This is Tates Academy for 8.3. We'll work out problems 6, 8, and 11. It's volume and surface area of cones. So we'll start with number 6 here. Again, asking us to find the volume of the cone that they give us a drawing for. So again, volume is 1/3 times capital B base, which is the area of your base, in this case the area of a circle, times the height, or volume equals capital B times the height divided by 3. Again, both are correct. Whether you want to divide by 3 or multiply by 1/3 gives you the same answer. So capital B, since it's a cone, capital B, the area of the base, is pi r squared. Okay, pi r squared gives you the area of a circle, and that's what shape the base of a cone is. It's a circle. So pi r squared is what we will use for capital B. So it says to find the exact volume and an approximation. And the approximation, they want us to use 3.14 for pi. So the exact volume, you're just not going to multiply out by pi. So let's look at the exact volume first. So again, volume equals 1/3 times, I'm replacing capital B with pi r squared times the height. So I just fill in everything that I know. So volume equals 1/3 times pi, since they want the exact, I'm going to leave pi as the pi symbol, times the radius. Now it says that all the way across is 9, that's the diameter, so halfway across would be 4.5. And then we square that times the height, which is 14. Okay, so now that's it. We want to solve for V. V is already by itself. So we multiply everything that we can, but we do not multiply by pi. We don't change it to 3.14. We don't use the pi button. They want the exact, so we don't mess with pi at all. So what you're going to do is multiply 1/3 times the 4.5 squared times the 14. Go ahead and do that in your calculator, and again, leave pi alone. And after you do that, what you should get then is volume equals, you should get 94.5 times pi. So for the exact, we just do not do the times pi. We just leave it 94.5 pi, and we label it. So the volume is 94.5 pi, and the units here are centimeters, so centimeters cubed, since it is volume. So that's all that you do for exact. You just skip the step where you would type in 3.14. That's for the next part, the approximation. So let's look at the approximating here. Again, volume equals 1/3 times pi r squared times the height. So now, for the approximation, we are going to use 3.14 for pi times the radius, which is 4.5 squared, times the height, which is 14. So now for the approximation, we are replacing the pi symbol with 3.14. So now we just do all of this multiplying. 1/3 times 3.14 times 4.5 squared times the 14. Or if you don't like multiplying by 1/3, you can do volume equals 3.14 times 4.5 squared times 14, and all of that would be over 3. So you're either multiplying by 1/3 or you're dividing by the 3. Both will give you the same answer. When you do that, you'll get volume equals 296.73. It's asking us to round to the nearest tenth. So our answer is 296.7 centimeters cubed. Okay. That's it. And I can't remember if the other one I labeled it correctly with units cubed, but it should have been 94.5 pi, 94.5 pi centimeters cubed is how that first one. So this is your exact, and this is your approximation. Okay, those are the two answers they're looking for there. Let's go to number 8. All right. So now on 8, they're giving us the volume and asking us to find the radius. So again, start with your formula. Volume equals 1/3 times pi times radius squared times the height. And plug in everything that you know. Okay, so number 8, they tell us that the height is 7.2 and the volume is 188.4. So V is 188.4. Equal sign, 1/3 stays 1/3, and they're asking us to do an approximation. So 1/3 times pi, which is 3.14. We're not finding any exact this time. Times our radius, which we don't know, so it stays r squared, times our height, which they tell us the height is 7.2. Okay, so our ultimate goal is to get this r by itself. But before we can get r by itself, we need to get r squared by itself. So 188.4, use your calculator and do the 1/3 times the 3.14 times the 7.2. Multiply all of that out. And what you'll get is 7.536 times r squared. We still have the times r squared there. Okay, notice I didn't round to the tenths or anything yet. I left the whole thing there. 0.536, 7.536. So now we need to get r squared by itself, so we got to get rid of that 7.536. To do that, we do the opposite of what it's doing. It's multiplying the r squared, so we're going to divide both sides by 7.536. Divide both sides by 7.536. Do your math on the left, 188.4 divided by 7.36, and you'll get 25 equals, these cancel each other out, leaving you with r squared. Now we're not done. We don't want to know what r squared is. We want to know what r is. So r is being squared. What's the opposite of being squared? Right, the opposite of being squared is the square root. So we draw the radical sign around both sides. The square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of r squared is r. So we found that the radius is 5 inches, and it's not inches squared or inches cubed. We're not finding volume or area. We just found the length of the radius to be 5 inches. Okay? That's number 8. Now we're going to jump to number 11. This will be the last one. And that is on page 151. All right, so 151, problem 11. You see the cone they gave us there. Now we're dealing with area. Okay, so area of cones. Area is pi r squared plus pi times the radius times the slant height. L is abbreviation for slant height. So the dotted line that you see here, draw this in, that's your height. Okay, that's h. Then the body of it, the actual exterior, that 12, that is your slant height. So there's a difference between slant height and height. You'll remember, height always has to form a 90-degree angle with your base. So your base is this circle, and that forms a 90-degree angle. This 12, your slant height, does not form. This is not a right angle right there. Okay, so that's the difference between slant height and height. So this part, the pi r squared, that is the area of the circle. And this part, pi rl, that is the area of the body. Okay, that's the area of this part, the triangular type shape part there. Okay, so we just have to read what is it that they want us to find, because sometimes they'll have us find different portions of the shape. So again, I'll write that up there for you. Area equals pi r squared plus pi rl. So A, what is the exact area of the cone's curved surface? So what part gives us the area of the curved surface? Yes, that's what that part right there does. That gives us the area of the curve. So we're going to do A equals pi RL. That's going to give us just the curved surface. And it wants the exact, so we leave pi alone, times that by the radius, which is 3, times that by the slant height, which is 12. So A equals 3 times 12 is 36. So 36, and then attach the pi to it for the exact. So the exact is 36 pi inches squared. Okay? B. B wants the total surface area of the cone, and they want both the exact and the approximate. Okay, so let's do the exact first. So this is the total surface area, all of it, the circle plus the body. So A equals pi r squared plus pi rl. Plug in everything that you know. A equals, and again, pi is going to stay pi, times the radius squared. Radius is 3, so 3 squared, plus pi times 3 times 12. Now do all of your math, except don't do times pi. So 3 squared is 9, so 9 pi, plus 3 times 12 is 36, so 36 pi. And then we treat those pi symbols just like variables. 9 pi plus 36 pi is 45 pi. So our answer for the exact is 45 pi inches squared. Last part is to find the exact. So exactly what we did, but use 3.14. So area equals 3.14 times 3 squared plus 3.14 times 3 times 12. Again, just plugging in all the information into the formula. So for the approximate, now you just multiply all of that together. And when you multiply all of that together, you're going to get 141.3. And we label that 141.3 inches squared for the approximation. All right, those are all your notes for 8.3.